5, okay.
Oh, that was so fast. I expected a countdown or something.
Yeah, Facebook gives you the countdown. YouTube does not.
You think I would learn that with this being like the third one, but
Yeah,
nope. We just start right off.
exactly. So I'm Rhonda, and this is Catherine.
Hello.
And we're here for anything, everything.
And nothing at all.
There you go.
Look at us go. That was so smooth.
It was very smooth. We got that down.
Now let's hope everything else goes well.
Yeah, exactly. So we're here sitting in the morning, sipping our coffees, and I'm having a donut.
Yeah, I do.
But I do have a tuna fish sandwich. So
Yeah,
hopefully.
I'm nothing but sweets today. Well, I wasn't planning on the donut.
Right.
I have a donut and then I have a Nutella strawberry sandwich.
Yeah. There
Very
you go.
healthy. I mean,
The strawberries are good.
strawberries
for
are
you.
good, and like hazelnuts are good for you, but they put a lot of sugar in that.
Yeah,
I don't know if
yeah.
Nutella's.
Is it still healthy if it's a healthy food with a lot of sugar? I say yes.
Yeah, why not? Why limit ourselves to healthy food with no sugar when we could have healthy food with sugar?
Exactly. So yeah, the donut was a surprise.
The donut was a surprise. I had already made. I had already made my other stuff
Yeah, yeah.
before. I also did bring a cookie, which
And it's sugar cookies.
the sugar cookie.
Her sugar cookies are really, really
They
good.
are good. I will say my sugar cookies are the best.
So I hope you can join us with your morning coffee or maybe with your evening tea.
Let's say morning coffee time. I guess 10:45 is still considered morning. I feel like we
Yeah.
start our morning. Well, later.
I have embraced the late morning. You know, a lot of older people, as they get older, they tend to wake up
They tend to
earlier.
shrivel slowly. No.
They tend to wake up earlier. They tend to, like they have the $4 early bird special for a reason, right? There's a lot of older people that tend to. I mean, I'm approaching 60 a lot faster than I want to,
But
but
you look great for your age.
Thank
That's
you.
a good sign for me.
yeah, exactly. And my mom looked young.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
she did.
We are blessed with good genes
I was gonna say,
in that way.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Diane. friend of yours.
Diane looks great. Is amazing. Looks phenomenal.
Oh, she
and her
does.
ability to move her body the way she does. That's my goals.
Yeah, exactly. But she also embraces the late morning. She was
Oh, yeah.
a little bit of my inspiration with it's okay to not get up super early. Because I used to be a 5 a.m., 6 a.m. girl all the time. When you guys were kids, I had the
Even when
energy
I'm a-
for it. And it gave me an hour or two before everybody was up in the house. So
But you're a morning. You were naturally more of a morning person. See, like I'm the opposite. Like I wake up early because I have kids, but
Right.
my early is like 7.
Right.
Maybe.
I'm just gonna in case.
Just in case. Maybe 6:45.
Okay.
That's like early for me.
yeah.
But I'm not a morning person. I usually do that like quiet time, like at night. Like
Right.
I'm more willing to
I
stay
love
up
my
late.
quiet time at night now. Because
Yeah.
you hear all the night sounds and you hear the trains and it's just super relaxing to me.
All the ambulances and police trucks.
Well, you hear a little bit of that too. I am on a main vein.
Yeah,
where you would hear
it's
it.
hard to avoid it in that particular.
Yeah. But no, I'm like, well, also to my job, what I do, because I'm a tarot reader, I do tend to work more evenings.
Yeah, being able to be more available in the evening.
Yeah.
Most people aren't like, 9 a.m. tarot reading?
Yeah, no, I've never had a 9 a.m. tarot reading. I don't think so.
I do like.
I did have one guy that did, he does plowing for the city.
Oh,
So he
yeah,
does
I
it
remember
overnight.
him. Yeah.
And so he would
come.
want to come in as early. So I may have come in at 9 a.m. for
But
him.
that's a bit different. That's an exception. And
Yeah.
for him, it was kind of still his night.
Yes.
I mean,
he
even
was
though-
going into his night.
Yeah, you were just, it was early for you, but
Yeah.
that's like one exception. There's always going to be people that you're willing to like make an exception
course.
for.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
like them enough.
Yeah, he was a great customer. He still is. He refers people to me. Sorry, things keep popping up.
You should put in airplane mode.
Yeah, I thought naturally
Or
it did
focus.
that.
No,
but-
you have to put your phone into that. You can like
Oh, okay.
swipe down. So like you swipe down. Here, let me show you. And then you can go like that. Focus and do not disturb. And then it won't disturb you with all your various notifications or.
I learned something new today.
know.
There you go. And a technological thing too.
Wow, your mind is expanding.
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot.
It takes a lot to really get your brain going, does
Yes.
it?
Well, I'm lucky I'm streaming live and that I know how to do that.
She's like, I can do this one thing, and I do it really well, and it's the only thing I know how to do.
Exactly.
I can't do anything else.
But I've watched some of our videos, and I can tell when things pop up sometimes because we start to slow down.
Immediately go into slow. That'll do a whole live just like that. See if you can figure out what we're saying, people.
Yeah.
Whoever gets it is a lucky winner of nothing.
Of nothing.
But just the honor of being able to figure
the
out what we
bragging
say.
rights.
Exactly.
So it's the day before Halloween.
The day before Halloween. I'm very excited.
Yeah, so am I. I love Halloween.
Halloween's good.
Yeah, it's fun. And people have come in over the last couple weeks and, you're not
Yeah,
really...
isn't this usually your busiest time for tarot reading?
Oh, it's very busy, very busy. But I was going to be doing moonlight readings tonight.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun, and yeah, like I said, October is my December. Like if you're looking at retail type stuff.
Yeah, October is the month.
It's the month, yeah.
And then New Year too. Usually New Year time.
Yeah,
just because
December is actually busy, not just because of Christmas, but because that's when I do the New Year's
Year
reading.
reading. So that's usually a big time for you.
Yeah, and
It's a good
January
reading.
stays busy because of that reading.
Yeah, because you can do it for like a couple weeks into January.
Yeah, I usually do it to the end of January, depending on the demand.
That's true. Because you can always do I know you've done the ones where you've done it I'll give you the January for the following year.
Yes.
So you kind of have it's almost like a when you're saying a married a year and a day. It's almost you get the year and then the extra month.
And a month.
You get a little sneak peek into the following year.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's busy. So actually someone messaged me, was it yesterday or the day before, asking if I could do something this weekend for them.
Oh, really?
And it's I'm booked.
Yeah.
And what's actually been booking me a lot outside of tarot readings, of course, is home cleansings.
Yeah, I have been, because every time I talk to you, you're always like, oh, I'm doing home cleansing. I'm like, when did home cleansings go up so much recently?
Yeah. I think people have just discovered that's something I can do. Because I do get fairly regular people wanting to come in for a smudge, or I include it in a service as a little bonus, or...
I mean, you always need a good smudge every once in a
who
while.
can't use a smudge, right? It's like a spiritual bath.
I was gonna say, I always do one when I'm doing work. I'm like, it's this feels good.
Yeah, exactly.
I should probably do it more often. Every time I do it, I'm like, I should do this more often, but no.
And I have a special home cleansing kit and box, and it was a box that was given to me on my birthday by Lori, who was part of my moon circle when I was doing them out towards Gananoque. She's an amazing woodworker. She also does mugs.
Oh, does she?
She does
wooden mugs?
No, ceramic. She
wooden
does
mugs?
pottery too. She's very, very talented.
That's cool. I love pottery.
And the box has a secret compartment.
Ooh. Do you keep your snacks there?
Yes, that's where I keep my crackers.
Why crackers of all the snacks? I feel like that's
because they never get old.
Stale crackers?
Yeah.
Well,
especially with Premium Plus, sometimes you're like, is this stale? I'm not sure. Bite, bite, bite. I'm still not sure if it's stale. Bite, bite, bite.
I've never in my life, maybe because I'm not a big Premium Plus cracker person, I've never been like, let me just snack on those babies.
They're the best thing to eat when you've got
when you're sick, yeah.
When you're sick, when you've got an upset stomach,
They are.
when you've got heartburn.
When you're going through emotional crisis,
If
when
you've got
the
morning
apocalypse is
sickness,
coming,
yeah.
the rapture.
Exactly. Stock up on the
Premium Plus. You never know.
Because even stale, they'll still fix the tummy.
I do like a good Premium Plus cracker, in a good soup. I used to,
Oh, yeah.
when I was in college, and I would get soup.
Now, do you crunch them up
Oh,
or do
crunch.
you put them whole?
No, you have to crunch. What?
Yes.
No, it's a different crunch.
Well, I usually crunch. Although I saw someone put one whole in.
And then you can bring it. I have done that before.
And I sometimes enjoy that. Are you a crunch or are you a whole Premium Plus person for your soup? And usually it's going to be like a cream soup, like a tomato soup.
Cream. It's good with chicken noodle soup. I've done it with chicken noodle.
Oh, chicken noodle, yes.
But I do like it. Tomato soup is usually the one I go for.
Yeah.
But I do like cream.
And you can do
anything.
it in a squash soup.
A squash soup.
If it's a little watery,
yeah.
Not the creamy, like it's almost pudding. squash soup. That's actually really good. And squash ravioli. Super good.
I've heard that's good. I think I have had it once before, but it's not something I go to.
No, you usually get it
naturally.
at restaurants
Yeah.
because it's a labor of love kind of
Yeah.
thing. It's not worth making.
I
It's
feel
like
anything with
cabbage rolls.
squash can be a bit of a labor. Like squash can be really easy to make, but then sometimes some things you're like, I have to put more work into this. Like if you're not just doing mashed or some basic roasted.
Right. Yeah. And have you ever had pumpkin?
Pumpkin ravioli or pumpkin
No, just
anything?
pumpkin.
I don't think I've had
Roasted pumpkin.
I don't think I've had roasted pumpkin.
I
see
had
it's
it
supposed to be really good.
At a friend's of mine, because I've seen pumpkin in the grocery stores more and more. And at first I was like, oh, have they cubed up the squash for me? And I can just throw it in a pot now. And it's like, no. And by the way, the frozen squash doesn't do it.
It doesn't never taste the same. Even when I've
No.
done it for myself, when I've like gone a big squash and I'll freeze part of it. It's like we're not gonna eat all this.
Right.
It doesn't taste. It's like more grainy. Like it's more stringy. It's
Yeah.
really the
Yeah.
texture
Is just
especially if you're
way
a
off.
texture person. If you were maybe using it in a soup and then blending it so that
Maybe, yeah.
it might be okay. But I feel like I don't know something about the
Or
fibers.
maybe like you can roast it and just eat it roasted with roasted vegetables.
Maybe. I still
Maybe.
feel like something about the texture. It gets very like the fibrous.
Yeah,
almost.
it does. It does. I found that too. But like I had pumpkin a few weeks ago at a dinner party that I was at.
And it was really good.
It was really good, and apparently
How was it? What did they do? Just roast it? You
They
said?
just roasted it and did the Holy Trinity on it and the Kitchen Trinity, which salt, pepper, and
I
garlic.
mean, that makes sense because I love acorn squash. An acorn squash.
Yeah.
It's just a mini pumpkin.
yeah, exactly.
Butternut
exactly.
squash is just a
But,
mini
like,
pumpkin.
I never here in Canada, we either make them into jack-o'-lanterns or
Yeah,
we make them into
pumpkin.
pies.
Yeah, we
Or
definitely.
sometimes we'll do the pumpkin loaf.
Yeah, anything sweetened,
Yeah.
Canadians will go for. We
So
we
these
find ways to
people
sweeten everything.
They're a military family and they've been posted in Australia.
Oh.
So I guess in Australia, they didn't even know what pumpkin pie was. Because
What?
they don't eat it
They don't
sweetened.
eat pumpkin pie.
They eat it
That
savory.
just seems crazy, but I guess that makes sense because, like, when in the States where they do like, what is it, sweet potatoes?
Oh, yeah.
with marshmallows. That to me is like, why?
Yeah.
That, like disgusts me.
Like, I'm like, okay, I could maybe try sweet potato
I could-
pie,
I could-
but I wouldn't want the marshmallows. It's just over the top for
Something
me.
about especially because like,
It's like,
sweet
no.
potatoes are naturally sweet. Like I love sweet potatoes just
Yeah.
on their own. You know
Yeah.
me. One of my favorite
Yeah.
things is sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
And I could see a sweet potato pie. I might be okay with that because once again, it has a similar taste and texture to like butternut squash, pumpkin,
Yeah.
in that realm.
I mean, they're all in the same family.
They're all in the same family.
They're
so
cousins.
They're cousins. Close. I mean, like, isn't sweet potato? Is it? I wouldn't say a squash. Because it's a root plant, right?
yeah,
Because like
yeah,
a squash
I
is of a
suppose, yeah.
fruit, and then that
well,
would
okay,
be. But
so
but they do have
sweet
similar.
potato is a second cousin too.
Yeah, they just look similar. They're both orange,
Yep.
and you can mash them.
Yeah, you can mash them.
But I could see the sweetness of it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. Sweet potatoes are naturally sweet.
Yeah.
On their own.
Like, why would you want to add more?
This is coming from a
sweetness?
Canadian who we sweeten things everywhere, and I'm still being
Yeah.
like, the
Yeah.
sweet potato is sweet enough.
Yeah, as Canadians,
if
we
you-
put maple syrup on just about everything.
I know Namusa says that. My mother-in-law, she comes from South Africa, and she always talks about how everything is sweetened with maple syrup. She's like, you get sausages sweetened with maple syrup. She thinks that's
Bacon
weird. Bacon.
with
She
maple
thinks
syrup.
that's so weird. Like when we go over for like breakfast or something for brunch, the kids love like having maple syrup to like dip their bacon in. They just is like what they do.
The maple bacon dipped in maple syrup.
Yeah,
you can't
sausages,
go wrong.
whatever meat they have, ham, it's dipped into maple syrup. She thinks that's so gross. She's like, that's just too much. So I mean,
And that's a better kind of sugar.
yeah,
for
it's
you.
a better sugar. It's a
you
better
know?
sugar. If you're gonna have any sugar, maple syrup, a natural kind of, or even like sugar cane, like
Yeah,
depending where you're
the
coming
true
from.
sugar cane.
Yeah, coming where you're coming from, like there's sugars that are like a little bit like less processed and refined.
Yeah.
They're a little bit.
And apparently, like Coke and Pepsi, I'm loyal to both. If either of
She
you want to
has-
be a sponsor, but
loyal to both.
but they used to be. I know Coke for sure because it's got a longer history. I think used to be flavored with real sugar cane. And,
Yeah. Do
and
they also have Coke in it?
they did have cocaine
Like,
in
do
it
they
at
have-
the start
That
too.
was why Coke
Yes.
is called Coke.
But when it was Coke with the sugar cane, it filled you. You couldn't drink as much
That
pop
makes sense because
'cause
it
it
would be
filled you
heavy in
up.
your belly.
Yeah, and now they do it with corn syrup, and you can drink gallons of that stuff.
Well, isn't corn syrup like just super bad for the environment? Like,
Yeah, it's
I don't
not
know
good.
all the everything.
At
but,
least that's what I've heard. I have no scientific proof behind
well, like
that.
corn.
But,
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, one, it's cheaper, and two, it's not as good.
Well, yeah,
I'm
it's not-
sure the Coke people weren't going, well, it's not as good for you, so let's put that
well,
in.
yeah, there were. Yeah.
But they went, well, it's cheaper, so
It's
let's put that in.
our profits go way up if we use this shit.
Yeah. But they should almost think about selling Coke with the real cane sugar.
They should have like
like
almost
that
like a
option.
luxury brand. Coke,
Yeah.
you can
You'd
give
pay
us
more. Yeah,
royalties for this
exactly.
wonderful idea.
You'd
People would pay
more
for it.
but you would pay more for
People
it
would-
knowing, you
People
know.
would you would have a market. People would
Oh,
100% buy that.
Absolutely. Because they've got the Coke Zero, they've got the Diet Coke, which tastes different, by the way.
I don't drink that stuff, so I don't.
I
know.
drink Diet Coke. I do like my Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi. I'm loyal to both, or loyal to neither of you. I don't know what the situation is.
Anyone's guess. I don't drink any Coke or Diet Pepsi. I don't drink any. I sometimes occasionally have a root beer. I do
Oh,
like
yeah.
root beer.
I don't.
Ginger
And I used to
ale
work at
is where
A&W.
ginger ale is where I am at. If I'm gonna have a drink, ginger ale.
Right.
And I do like Canada Dry. I'm a bit loyal. I mean, I will drink other ones, but
Yeah, well-
Canada Dry tastes the best in my
And,
opinion.
Yeah, and you can't go wrong with Canada Dry.
No.
As a Canadian.
Exactly. I'm loyal to my Canadian heritage.
It's like,
is it
why
even
am I-
owned by Canada? Question.
I'm not sure, but my uncle, when he would come over for coffee at my parents' place, and he'd be putting cream in his coffee, he'd be like, I'm supporting the dairy farmers, because their dad, my grandfather, was a dairy farmer. So they buy cream on a regular because you're supporting the dairy farmers.
I keep thinking about that. The girls have birthday parties like out in Sydenham, and I always go past like what is that milk creamery place?
Oh, yeah.
And I always think I should stop there and get stuff, but I'm like, no. But I should.
When we lived at our farm out in the country, they had right sort of around the corner from us, and I'm talking country corner, not city corner.
A little bit of a drive. Could walk there.
No, you couldn't walk there, but you could drive there pretty easy. And they had a big egg farm, commercial egg farm. So they had eggs you could buy,
Oh, just there.
and it was on the honor system.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
one thing I miss about living in the country is being able to get eggs so easily.
Yeah. Now, mind you, they were commercial eggs.
Well, but when we like lived on the farm, there was a lot of like small hobby farmers that you could get
tons.
really good eggs
Yes,
from.
tons.
I mean, I could take a drive and go, but I just don't.
Yeah.
And we eat a lot of eggs in our
and
house.
I love the farmers that I would stop at, because before, whether I was in between chickens or before we got chickens when we were out there,
yeah.
because once we had chickens, we were giving away
yeah.
eggs, because it was like,
You get
okay.
once you get a good layer, they just go.
Well, that, or if you've got 12 good layers, you're getting a dozen eggs a
Every
day.
Sometimes more, because there'll be the one time that's like the one overachiever who's like doing two.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, I mean, those are good eggs though.
Yeah, but most of the old farmers, it was hilarious when I'd stop in. You invariably almost go to their kitchen.
Yeah.
Right? And they
And
would
they just pull out wherever you go.
but it was always sort of a greasy kitchen, and it was
very
like
worked and
it was very worked and lived in, but I loved it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, this is a
It
true
always
farmer.
made me kind of think of like when we go see grandma and grandpa at their
Yeah.
place, like that vibe, that it had that smell too, like that.
Yes,
There's a certain
yes.
smell. I sometimes will catch it every once in a while,
Yeah.
and I always think like, oh, grandpa must be here, because I always think of him when I get
Right.
that like whiff of that like
yeah,
that
because he was a
smell.
wannabe farmer too.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a little bit of a hobby farm in and out of the years.
I think that's what. Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, when you live in the country, I think it's hard not to.
Yeah, and
like-
especially when you grew up on a farm, like he was super nostalgic. And,
yeah, he was. Very
everything-
sentimental guy.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and everything was better in the past, and he would reminisce about his childhood and all this kind of stuff.
Romanticize it. and-
Romanticize it,
I
absolutely.
mean, we all do that. Though,
Oh
to
yeah,
some degree.
I know I do it to some degree. I'm a little bit heavy on it, and
Yeah,
I
you
know
are.
I come by it.
You're definitely like your dad that way.
I come by it honestly. My sister does it too.
Oh, Kimber?
Yeah.
Oh, she's
she's
worse.
worse than-
I was gonna say she's worse than you.
Yes.
100. I feel like I don't do that.
No, and I don't feel like my other brothers and sisters do it. Like, I don't notice, Jamie or Kayla or Ryan.
I don't
or
really, like, I
Michael.
kind of be like, oh, that's the past. I learned these are things that, like, oh, I enjoyed at the time.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to go back. Like, I always think
Yeah.
about high school. I'm like, you couldn't pay me enough.
No, I
back
wouldn't
in
want to
high
go.
school.
No, I'm glad I did it, and I've got some decent memories.
Yeah, I
and
think
stuff like that. But I did enjoy being in Lanark. Now I was a little kid.
That was when you were before. Was that when just you and your sister were born, or before your sister?
No, Kimber and I were born.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I know there's
And Kayla came along,
sometime in that
and then
process.
Ryan came along too.
Okay.
And Jamie was a baby right before we moved.
Okay, I couldn't
Because
remember.
I remember, like, at the age of 12, my mom and dad, we were in Lanark, and they would go to Kingston to look for a house.
Okay.
Which is about 2 hours away.
Oh my god.
And
They would leave you with a
left-
baby
They would leave me with the 4 other kids.
and a baby.
And
And
a
a
newborn baby.
Oh my god! Can you imagine? I thought taking care of a 3-year-old
I was very responsible.
at 12 was a lot of work.
It was. And because we did have a babysitter that would come some nights if they were going to be out, like, for dinner
Multiple
or
or-
whatever.
oh, okay.
Right? But they didn't want to pay her for a whole day. So they would leave me because I was working for free because it was part of my family
I
responsibility.
know, isn't that always funny? And to watch your own family for free, I'm like, what the?
Oh my god.
Still work. Should be paid for
yeah,
this.
and-
I do know some parents these days, not every parent, but there are more parents who are willing to pay their kids if they're watching their other kids,
Right.
because the idea
But
is
probably not at the age of 12.
well, I was babysitting at the age of 12.
Were you? I guess.
'Cause
I
I
guess
did, like,
maybe that's when
the-
you start, right?
Because I did remember I did the babysitting course?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
our neighbor, her daughter had that son. I cannot.
Oh, yeah.
Holly, right? Her name was Holly. What was her
Yes.
son's name?
I don't remember, but I
He
do
was
remember.
the sweetest kid, and I babysat him for years.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember
He
that
was a
because they lived in the apartments.
They lived in the apartments, and I would often watch him at night. And then at some point, it changed to me picking him up from daycare and watching him after, because I think she got a job or something. And yeah, he was the sweetest kid. I think he made me definitely want to be like, yeah, cinch for me having kids for sure.
Nice, because sometimes that makes you not want to.
Actually, no, he was a sweetheart. I feel bad because I literally cannot remember his name.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Yeah, but and the other thing about the babysitter, the one that we used the most, or the one that my mom and dad used the most, she would come over and bake.
Ooh.
And mom did not like that.
Oh, did she not?
Well, because she would
make a huge mess.
a huge mess.
Oh, so
she
she wasn't
usually
good
didn't
for
do the dishes.
Oh.
She did tidy it up. She didn't just leave things.
Yeah, it wasn't just.
But mom did a lot of baking because it was very economical in those
Yeah.
days. So, you're using her flour, you're using her sugar, and she has like a mental inventory. of-
And I know you grew up poor, so the idea of someone using up stuff that's like, okay, I had this marked for this, or knew I had this much for, however many bread I'm going to make, or whatever it is that you're.
Exactly. And like this babysitter, she came from a family that, I'm sure they weren't poor. I mean, she was older, so I got a lot of her clothes.
Okay.
And mom would pay her like $10 for a whole bag full of clothes or something.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I got a lot of, and she was very stylish, so I was not
So
sad
you were
to get,
stylish too?
Yeah, I was looking cool in
That's
my
nice.
tight, jeans with the bell bottoms.
Oh, the nice big bell bottoms.
Yeah,
Well, I wore
yeah.
those in high school. They came back around by the time I was back in high
Yeah,
school.
yeah.
They weren't as tight, though,
Yeah,
as the top.
but my ass looked amazing.
At 12 years old.
At
Everyone
12
remembers
years old.
she's 12.
Yep,
Talking
yep.
about her bum.
Well, that was the age when boys were starting to notice. So I was like, oh, I have a weapon here.
Wow. Careful, people. She's armed with an ass.
Pow-pow.
I feel like I barely acknowledged boys at 12. I feel like I was really
Yeah, I wasn't I mean, you had your
crush.
schoolyard crushes and things like that,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, nothing too bad.
That's good.
Yeah. Plus, I was studying to be a nun, which I thought was a female priest.
But yet was really excited how her butt looked in a pair of tight jeans.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be a nun, so it doesn't matter.
Well, I think I started wearing those jeans. I mean, some of the clothes I wore out of necessity.
yeah, because it was
'Cause
just
you gotta wear
available.
something.
Yeah, I have to cover my body somehow.
Yeah, and I think I started wearing them after I found out that girls couldn't be on the altar, even as altar boys, quote unquote, or altar girls or whatever, was not allowed at all.
No, I remember that.
And I was very angry. So I went 180.
It was for a really long time because I even remember as a kid going to church and it was still just altar boys.
Yeah.
It's
And-
only like I think in
well,
the last
I
maybe
was
10 years.
invited to a mass in Ottawa when I was, I think, about 13 or so, right before my confirmation.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, in the Royal Roman Catholic Church, you get what's called confirmation around the age of, I think, 14 or
I don't
thereabouts.
think I ever did that.
And it makes you an adult of the church. So there's more responsibility and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't think you guys ever did.
I think we got to communion and that was as far as we kind of
Yeah,
went.
yeah.
And because I remember
And confession, because
yeah.
the two go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Can't get the bread until you confess your sins.
Exactly. I like that bread though. I like it's good. It's
Yeah.
like a snack. It's delicious.
A snack during church? Well, who doesn't need a snack?
It was always the best part, and I always got mad that the priest got the big one. Like I was like, where do I get the big one from? That's what I want. I know they do break it up and they
Yeah.
give you pieces, but he always took like a big piece.
Yeah, the big piece was for him. Snap. Depending on how
Hungry they were, because sometimes he knew they weren't very hungry because they take just a tiny piece.
They take a quarter of it. Some would snap it in
half
half
again,
and
then
then
take
fold it all into their mouths and
Yeah, some of them you knew because they would almost take the whole thing.
yeah, exactly. You didn't have breakfast, did you, Padre?
But that was the best part. I love communion. I haven't had it forever because I'm not religious and going to church. But
especially, it gave you something to do because you were up out of your seat. You're
walking,
walking,
yeah.
you know, and you got to walk around, go back to your
It was
seat.
nice
So it
to-
gave you a little walking exercise
it was
break,
nice to do a little something,
little
something.
food, a little snack.
I always got annoyed. They're like, "Well, you didn't do confession, so you can't get the thing." I'm like, "F you."
Yeah.
I
Well,
want my
no,
snack.
I mean, you don't always have to do confession before you take
That's
communion.
what your siblings used to say.
Yeah, no, it's if you have a mortal sin on your soul.
Well, I was a child, so what mortal sin do I have on my soul?
I know, right?
so I was denied a lot of those things sometimes because I'm like, "Oh, you
And who are they to judge what's on your soul?
I know, right?
Right?
You
Yeah.
should talk to your siblings about that. I miss a lot of delicious snacks during church for that.
And the wine only comes out at very special occasions.
I don't think I do the wine. I never.
Yeah.
The idea of sharing a cup with them. I know they wipe it, but
Yeah.
there's still.
I don't think they do it as much now
Well,
because
'cause
of
of COVID.
So maybe that I haven't been.
it would
since
make
then.
more sense to have people have little cups. I know it's
Little
not the
Dixie
most.
cups.
Yeah, and then they pour the wine into it.
Yeah.
So then you can still get it, but it's not like there's a little bit. It's a little cleaner.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, a little more
you know.
sanitary.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, as much as you want to bless things and it's the Lord's blood, how can it be contaminated? Well, it's not contaminated, but the cup might be. The cup
Yeah.
rim.
The cup of well, and then like, they know that the spit up goes back into the cup.
The backwash.
So whoever gets the last sip, you're getting just spit at that point. That's flavored
you
as
really
wine.
are asking the Lord to protect me.
Please protect me because I am really taking my life in my hands right now having this.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Because did you not get the blood of Christ at the wine at your first communion? Because usually that's when you first get it,
I
and of
think
course no kids like it because it's wine.
I'm gonna say that
And
was a generational thing, and you got that because it was less of a concern. I don't have any memory of getting wine.
Oh, because I
I
remember the first time I took it, and I'd never had
Maybe
alcohol
we did,
at all.
but I don't.
And I was like, you know, because like you almost
the
wanna
first taste
spit
of
it
wine
back.
is gross.
Yeah,
Blech.
it's, especially if you're not a wine drinker, and at 7 years old,
Well,
most of us
and it's
are
always
not.
red wine, of course, because it's the
Yep.
blood of Christ.
Yep, always red wine.
So you've
yep.
got match.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know, but
I don't
anyways.
have memories of taking the wine. I do remember the.
But what I started out saying was in Ottawa,
Oh,
I
yes.
was invited to a special mass in Ottawa because I had this whole thing. It's going to be in my book that I'm hoping to publish
She's the book.
soon. It's my story of wanting to be a priest as a girl, and
Just a girl who wants to be
be a priest. And so I had this mailing campaign to many archbishops.
Oh, I remember you saying that, because I remember you saying your mom was like super supportive, like do this, and then your dad
she
on
was
the other hand
slipping
was
me
not,
the addresses and how to address the.
where your father on the side was embarrassed and could not believe that you would do this.
Because funny story, just a little tangent here. My dad was studying to be a priest when he was set up on a blind date with my mom. And when you're studying to be a priest, they send you home for about a year so that you can spend that year
Living life and seeing if that's something you really want to do.
if you really
before-
want to commit. So you're allowed to. It's sort of like the Amish people have that
Oh yeah, What
that
is
time
it?
when they can do whatever they can party. Rama something or other. Yeah.
Rama Lamina.
So that's sort of what it is for priests. Like, go home, kiss your sweetheart goodbye if you have one, date if you
I think in
want.
the Amish community though it's optional. I don't think you have to do
No,
that.
you don't have to. No, but
in the
in the priesthood they want to make sure that you really
Well, it's a
want to
pretty
be.
large commitment.
It is. It's a
But
very
can't
large.
you always just leave the church whenever? Like, isn't there? I mean,
Normally, no. Normally,
no.
you're
Don't you have
committing.
autonomy over your choices in life. I guess the idea is like if you can't make the
No,
commitment.
the idea behind becoming a priest is you're always a priest for the rest of your life.
That's weird and creepy.
Yeah, so he came home, he got set up on a date, blind date with my mom. And like I say, the rest is history because he never went back to the priesthood. But he
found out-
enjoyed the idea of priesthood, right? So anyways, my
Romanticized
story,
it.
getting back to me.
Oh, she's all about herself this morning.
Mm-hmm. So I had done this letter writing campaign, why can't girls at that point, because I was a girl at that point. And I got invited to this mass, and this mass was the first mass that ever had altar girls on it
Wow.
or in it in Canada.
Wow.
I got to go and say hi to the Archbishop, and I got a special invitation to this mass.
Wow.
Yeah. So my mom was with me, my dad was with me. My dad was very embarrassed,
Oh my god.
but my mom kept him in check, as she usually
God.
did.
I mean, like, obviously they realized there was a problem because why else create the altar girl?
Yeah, and then it kind of like it's
Sizzled out a little bit.
well, I mean, yeah, I guess.
Because I don't remember any altar girls at all.
No, it's mostly boys still, even to this day.
shocking. I'm shocked by that
But it
information.
also it was a catalyst, I think, a little bit to women being like helpers on the altar. So they now can give out the communion. Because, in big churches they
They have
like,
multiple people that kind of come and help because
and it used to be only men that could do that. Now women can do it.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love
so
to feed people food.
yeah, there
from
you
my
go.
hand.
One for me, one for you, one for me, one for you.
Actually, I would totally do that. Can I do that? I would literally go to church.
It's frowned upon.
I thought we were sharing here.
Yeah.
But the church was all about sharing.
Yeah.
Sharing is caring, children.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So
I have a bag that I just like slip a bunch of them extra. You can go I think you can go to the church stores and buy them. I've seen them online.
really,
Yeah. So if you're ever looking for a random
because that was a huge controversy for a while. My mom and dad were super like anti-Satanism and Satanists and stuff. And
they were Satanists. Wow, they really flipped a coin there.
No,
I'm
they
joking.
were.
I
They
know,
were
I know.
against it. Like they did the whole play the record backwards and see what the evil
Oh my God.
music or evil message is. And
Wash
for a
your
little while,
hands.
there were some churches that were getting hosts stolen.
Oh really?
Or people would go up and take a host but not eat it and take it away. And mom and dad were very big on it's going to the black masses and being used there as a sacrilege and stuff like that.
I mean, anyone probably could make those things. I'm just gonna say
It's
that.
unleavened bread. But I mean,
I know,
guess
like
it's
in the
blessed
church, it's
and-
blessed. Like there's a process to it. Like
Yeah.
holy water isn't
There's a
just water.
ritual.
There's it's
and
blessed and,
like I think it's wrong that people did that, not because I'm a huge whatever, but this is this church's ritual, and you're desecrating that
I was gonna
ritual.
say and you shouldn't just
and you're
yeah.
being disrespectful.
and you shouldn't steal from
No,
something.
no,
I
like,
mean, it just
yeah.
feels like that's just in general.
yeah,
you don't steal.
go into the
Don't
church
steal.
and steal stuff. That's not right.
I mean, don't go into anyone's
And
place.
you're in a church stealing, like
That seems like even if you're not religious, I feel like that just
you're
seems like
committing
bad
a sin
karma.
in the house of God. Like that's just you're right. That's bad karma. double.
Yeah, whether or not you're religious or not.
Yeah.
Or believe in the
This
church
is
or
a
whatever.
sacred place for people to gather and try to, cleanse their souls, make themselves better people, praise the Lord, and help restore world peace. Like you come out of Mass thinking, okay, I've done a good thing. Hopefully the world will be better because of this, right? Like
Yeah.
sort of a little of the spillover effect, as I call it, right? And hopefully you've got in your heart now that I've just been here. I've been doing my spiritual religious work. Now I want to go out in the world and be a kinder person or a better person
Yeah.
in some way. And if that's what does it for you, have at her. I'm like, whatever makes you a better version of yourself and a kinder person, do it.
Do it, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if murdering a bunch of people don't...
No, don't do that. We've all agreed, I think, worldwide that murder is wrong. But some people view murder in different shades of gray.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Too many dark romance books I'm reading.
Oh,
Make me-
yeah, you're into the dark romance. Yes.
No, but in reality, that would be horrible. No.
Yeah.
Don't murder people. No matter
Keep it in the fantasy world.
No matter how morally right you think you are.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can go into stuff, but that's a little heavy for this
This is heavy. Yeah.
particular. But I mean, I do love spooky things. I mean, I love Halloween because of it. I'm a big horror
is
film fan. We just watched Leatherface, which actually, it's around the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which in of itself is a slasher movie. I'm not a big
Let's say,
fan
are we
of
saying or
slasher
not?
movies,
Yeah.
but Leatherface was the origin story, basically, of
Oh, the Texas.
Jason. Is it Jason who's the... Yeah, he's
Yeah,
the Chainsaw
yeah.
Massacre.
I think so.
Something like
Can
that.
you show... For someone who says I really like horror, we really don't... I don't really
Well,
like horror,
I don't really like slasher
Sure,
movies.
yeah.
But
I think you're right, it's Jason, though.
Yeah, so we actually found it not bad. It was like, oh, this is actually a decent story because there was a lot of story.
There was plot and
Yeah, and
origin
it was, and like I said,
information.
it was basically an origin story of Jason from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
so less slashering.
Yeah, because he hadn't become the slasher yet. Like he hadn't become the chainsaw guy. Yeah, I mean there was some chainsaws involved, but
I mean, it is an origin story, so they had to have come somewhere.
Exactly. And it was interesting the actor they picked for it because, of course, Leatherface, he ends up getting his face all cut up and disfigured. So that's why he creates a leather face.
Oh.
Right? And in the original ones, I believe, the rumor is the actor, what they did was they took a William Shatner mask and turned it inside out, and that's what he wore through the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like I have heard that information
Yeah.
before. Wonder
So
if that's
it's like-
any truth to
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. It's one of those urban legends maybe, but yeah. So he ends up having to make his leather face, of course, but he's a really good-looking guy.
Oh.
So it's. I don't want to give anything away, but they kind of. You don't know who he is at first.
Oh, because you're thinking oh, he's supposed to be disfigured and gross, but then you're like, oh, you didn't
Or
really...
he's got to have a warped sense of something.
Yeah, so
Right.
it has to be off with him. It's
Yeah.
always the good looking ones.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. And so it was
Never go-
interesting. I liked it.
That's good. I'm
Yeah.
not big into scary films.
I know you're not.
I'm not at all.
I watch a horror movie almost every night.
Fuck that shit. No way. I can do horror or thrillers if it's sci-fi. That's fine.
Oh,
If it has
really?
sci-fi, I'm willing to be okay, I can overcome
I will
this.
once in a while do a sci-fi thriller, but I love just regular old thrillers that this could happen to you.
No, that's literally my fucking nightmare. Why would I watch something that I'd be like, you know what? I could be murdered in my sleep too. I remember as a kid watching when I was hanging with Austin.
I was just gonna ask you, what is your scariest movie you've
The
ever seen?
scariest movie? Well, oh geez. I don't know. I don't know if it's the scariest movie, but the one that really like made me shit my pants only because of what happened afterwards. So I was hanging out with Tori and Austin, and I don't know if you remember, Austin had like a little
Yep.
like shed in her back that we would
Oh.
have as like our clubhouse.
Okay.
So one
Cool.
night, So one night we were watching scary movies, and that was at the point where I didn't really mind watching scary movies. I used to like watching scary movies when I was a kid. Now, as I've gotten older, I
Yeah.
don't like them.
Yeah.
But we were watching this one film. I don't remember what it was called. It was like something cherry or something. But it was about this guy who specifically killed virgins. And of course, I was a child. So I, of course, was a virgin.
Of course.
Of course. Hopefully would have been. And we were there by ourselves. It was just the three of us. And then all of a sudden the lights turn off. And there's all this noise. And I'm freaking. I'm like thinking the
Oh
killer
my
has come to get me.
God.
And I'm a virgin. And I need to get out. And so I booked it so fucking fast for the door because we were just like in the far back of her backyard. It ended up being her brother and like one of his friends.
Oh,
being
just
being an ass and like turning
Right.
off the lights. But
I scared the girls.
yeah, I literally though shot my pants. Not quite, but I was
But
close.
yeah.
Because it was literally like in the heightened point of this
Oh
thing.
no! So it's the climax of the movie.
It was, and I'm like, the killers found us, and we're virgins. We have to.
he's come out of the TV. He's right here.
We have to go.
Because we don't stand a chance as virgins.
It was so scary.
The only thing you had to add to that was let's split up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they always do that. In
Well, I
scary
think
movies.
Tori had also tried to stay, but I was no. I'm going for the house lights. Your parents are there. I left them.
Parents and the safety of the home
Yeah.
is right there.
Oh my god! I remember Austin's mom getting so mad at her brother, being like, "What are you thinking, scaring them?" I was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
freaked out.
Oh my god. Yeah, because as a kid, one night my parents were going out and they knew in those days you knew what was on TV because you had like 2 or 3 channels
Yeah.
at most, right? But they knew The Exorcism or The Exorcist
That's a scary one.
was the original was going to be on TV.
Oh,
So they said, no, Rhonda cannot watch this, blah, blah, blah. So the babysitter, of course, broke the rules and let me watch it. And now I'm super into that sort of shit. But at the time, it scared the bejesus out of me. And I was in bed and I heard mom and dad come home. And my light was still on. And my mom could see the light under the door. And she knew I love to sleep in the dark. Right? I was one of those no sound, no
everything
lights.
has to be just off and
Yeah,
gone.
exactly. So I was never a kid that was, I have to keep my light on to, Kimber was that kid, but I wasn't. And so she came in and she put her hand on my leg. She sat on the bed. She's like, you watched it, didn't you? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, and how do you feel? And I'm like, I'm so scared now.
That's horrible. I have watched The Exorcist. I watched that at Katrina's place one night. And watching it first was not that scary because it's like the graphics for that time was
Yes,
comical.
are definitely dated.
But then later on, like I remember feeling like hit being with. I was like, that's actually kind of a scary movie because like the religious aspect starts to hit you, especially because of my background. I was
yes, yeah.
I was like, no, that kind of is scary. Then I started getting scared. I think actually now that I'm thinking about it, the scariest movie we ever watched was The Ring.
I was just gonna say
I
the
remember-
ring was scary for you.
Yeah.
It was scary for me.
Well, we also all slept with TVs in our room. And I remember being like, I
Yes.
cannot. I remember going into your bed. I was like 12 or 13 at that point, but I asked to sleep with you. 'cause
Yep.
I couldn't. I, was
remember
so
you coming
scared.
in, and I remember going, "Thank God you want to sleep with me because I'm scared too."
I was so
Because
scared.
I immediately took you in, and I'm not one to sleep with other people. Like,
No, you usually aren't.
it's like I didn't bring babies into the bed. Papa did all that. He would sneak you guys as babies.
You know,
into
I
the
do.
bed.
I co-slept with both my
Yeah,
kids.
no, I couldn't do it. I couldn't sleep with animals in my bed for a long time either. But I do dogs usually, and now I do Bob, the cat,
Yeah.
our cat,
The Bob the cat.
who thinks he's a dog. So
But yeah, The Ring, I remember.
Yeah.
That, I think The Ring was probably the
that
scariest.
spooked the shit out of me.
Oh, that was, well, didn't, yeah, that was just,
And like you had TVs in your room for definite reasons.
yeah, there was
Because we
reasons.
had unusual living conditions.
Yeah.
But I always insisted when it was bedtime, the TVs go off. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like I wasn't like, oh, you can just leave it running all night long. It's like, no, I don't want the TV fucking with your mind or
No.
whatever. Right.
Well,
so
it certainly fucked with my mind that night.
yeah, yeah,
She's
fucked
just
with
like-
mine too.
I was like, I kept staring, like, is she gonna come out?
Yeah.
She's gonna come out.
Well, we had the big TV right near our bed, and I was like, oh my God, like you. I was like, she's going to come out. She's coming.
She's coming. We're gonna die.
The only other one that scared me a lot was Candyman.
Can't, I have watched Candyman. That is a scary one.
And a lot of people say that was a very scary movie.
yeah, that
Yeah, and when you're walking by a mirror, especially at night, or if you're going to the bathroom, there's the bathroom mirror, you kind of, like, I would whisper, Candyman. And I'm like, don't say it again. Candyman. I never got to the third
why
one.
are you testing yourself?
I don't know.
I still sometimes think, is this mirror like have a hole behind it? Like I still think like, what's behind this mirror? Like, you know, like you're like,
Yeah. It's especially if it's a mirror on the wall and not like a
Oh.
medicine cabinet.
oh
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, 100%. You're still like, can I trust you? Do you?
But I would
move?
look in the mirror and go, Candyman. And I'd be like, why did I do that?
Why?
Don't do that. And then on the way out, I'd go, Candyman.
You're so messed up.
I am. I never did it 3 times.
I'm
though.
so scared, but I'm still gonna do it.
Yeah.
So scared. This man could kill me, but I'm gonna do it.
I'm still gonna do it.
Isn't that the film that he has like the bees in his mouth, if I remember correctly? Because I thought I
Oh,
saw
I
something
can't
about
remember.
that, or maybe I'm mistaken.
There's
Or
a
maybe
couple of Candymans out now.
because
so
like
maybe.
maybe I'm mistaking it maybe just for that particular actor, but I remember they were talking about like when he had the bees in his mouth or something.
Oh, okay.
He legitimately had bees in his mouth. Like he
Oh,
got
did-
paid like a ridiculous
Oh, wow.
amount for it or something. Like got paid per like sting in his mouth. I don't know all the logistics. I
Really?
only vaguely read this. Whether or not this is true
Yeah.
or just some random.
Well, that's like in Les Mis, right? The movie. Is it Anne Hathaway? Mm-hmm. Anne Hathaway. She really gets her hair cut. Like that scene.
I saw that. Yeah,
and
I
when
heard that.
she's singing that song, she's really crying because, of course, you know,
Oh, she just cut off her hair.
it's an emotional thing when a woman loses her
It is.
locks, so to speak, right? Like a lot of times women will get their hair cut right after a big change, like I just got married, I just had a baby. They often do drastic things with their hair,
Yeah.
right? And cutting it off is one of those
I
things.
definitely cut my hair quite a few times in teenage phase of like angst moments of being like, just get this off.
Yeah, and I've talked, like, because, you know, I was in the spa and salon business, just as you were.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked with a number of hairstylists who have talked about how if a woman comes in with hair down to her butt and she wants it all cut off,
oh, no.
they often will suggest, don't do it that drastic. Like,
Let's
do it
just
in
start
steps.
a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it will be, that's
Because
too much.
sometimes a woman will sit and cry in the chair while it's happening.
Yeah.
Or they'll be crying afterwards and regret the decision.
Well,
or...
and especially, like, it takes a long time. That's like Goose. She keeps asking to get her hair cut, and her hair grows so slow. And she'll go, what? Shorter. I'm like, your hair is already short.
Yeah, it's short and it's not, you know, like not an inch a year or something.
Yeah, she does not grow it. Me and I had to grow her hair really fast.
Yeah.
And so does Annabelle. Lucy, it's like, it's watching like paint dry. Like, her hair grows so slow. I'm like, does it even grow?
It's taken you 7 years just to get this.
Yeah, honestly. No, to give her the benefit of the doubt, the first like almost 2 years of her life, she had almost no hair.
Well,
so it's
yeah,
but still,
like her mother. Her mother was bald for the first year.
I was a model, so
Yeah,
it worked
yeah.
out for me.
She was a baby model.
Yeah,
And
so
when
I'm
it grew
famous.
in, it was blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
at
now I
first.
still have blonde roots, but it goes brown.
Yeah,
So I really like
exactly.
roots.
Your father was blonde too as a baby.
Was he blonde? It's
Yeah.
weird to think because his hair's so dark now. But
I know, it's
I have
super
his
dark.
exact hair.
Yeah. Well, except I think you have my fine hair, don't you?
Oh, I have your fine hair.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have
He
his.
has
I have his
super
color.
thick.
I should say I have his color.
Yeah.
But I have your fine hair. With
Like
a
some
bunch of it.
people, some hairdressers have looked at my hair and said, "Did you ever lose your baby hair?" And I'm like, "No, I don't think so. I held on to every strand."
Oh my god. I know every time I've gone to a hairstylist, like especially for the first time, they're like especially because I used to get my hair colored a lot.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah, she had
And
rainbow hair.
Rainbow hair.
It was beautiful.
It was.
I mean,
beautiful.
it's still beautiful.
It's
of
so
course,
I've
but-
actually made the decision to grow it out though and have my natural because I haven't had my natural since I was like 8 years old.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, because you like
I've been
because
coloring-
you were in the salon.
I
Because I
colored
had
my-
the spa and salon, she had access to.
I colored my hair for years and years, so
Yeah.
I'm now embracing having my natural hair.
Oh, okay, cool.
So I have no plans on coloring it. Whether that changes in a month or two, who knows?
Yeah.
But for right now, in
the
this
winds
moment,
have changed. Are not blowing just yet.
exactly. But for right now, we've stayed the
Tomorrow she'll be calling me and going, "I'm going purple."
Exactly. You never know. I did see a blue and I was like, oh, that looks so nice. But I'm like, but the upkeep. I
Yeah.
keep thinking like the upkeep.
It's high maintenance when
It
you've
is.
got,
Ex-
like, especially the funky colors.
Exactly. And although I do like it, it's just like, I don't know, low maintenance. I am a low maintenance type of person when it comes to stuff. But
Yeah.
every time a hairstylist does my hair, they color it. They always have to go make more color. Cause like, wow, you have a lot more hair than I thought. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I always try and tell them like, I know it doesn't appear, unfortunately,
Yeah.
that I have a lot of hair, but I do have a lot of hair.
Yeah, my hair is thin and fine.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of
Of it, yeah. And I know. It's like, why couldn't I have had, like, I guess in some ways, see Annabelle's hair, because she has my hair, in the sense that she has a lot of it.
Oh, okay.
She has
Yeah,
a lot of it.
ton
She has
of hair.
so much hair, and I think
It's
she
just like,
gets
whoa.
that aspect from me, the
Right.
lot of hair.
Right.
But then she gets the thick, curly hair from
Yes.
Ayanda. So she's
Right.
got both. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
so much for her.
She's got a bounty of hair.
She does. She always gets upset because she's been asking for a haircut. I keep meaning to book it in, but just life.
Right.
Because I was going to do a bit of an undercut to take off some
Oh,
of the
yeah,
weight
yeah.
and stuff. And anyways,
I
but
wonder if there's anything you could do for Lucy hair-wise. Because she probably is a little jealous and wants some attention for her hair.
I keep meaning to like get, there's like oils and stuff that I keep meaning to do, and you can put like rosemary, is it rosemary water or something? I think it is, that you can do, like there's tips and tricks, and then like massaging the scalp.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All these things I have very good intention of doing, and then,
It just
doesn't
doesn't happen.
happen.
Yeah, yeah. I
But-
hear that.
but yeah, Annabelle has a lot. I always tell them, like, you know, people pay good money to have hair that
Like
you
hers,
have.
yeah.
Like, and she hates when I say that. I'm like, I know you hate when I say that, and I know it's annoying for you because you've lived with it. But and it's like, I get it. 'Cause you have a lot of hair.
Yeah.
It's like knowing now what it's like in seeing taking care of someone who has like thick hair and a lot of hair.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
My
Like,
sister has really thick hair. I don't know if she has a lot of it. And as she's gotten older, she's sort of noticed that it's thinned out a little bit.
But that's not a bad thing if you have thick hair. Like it's
Yeah.
not Annabelle. Like you're like, you know, you're gonna have hair for your whole life.
Yeah.
Because even if it thins out as you get older, which it will, or if you choose
Yeah.
to have kids, which it does,
Yeah.
you're gonna have still beautiful.
Although my
gorgeous
hair has thinned sometimes, but it always seems to bounce back.
yeah,
You know, like even when I was going through chemo, I never lost it, but it
it
thinned.
thinned a little bit.
Yeah, and there were times when I was in the shower and big chunks of it would come out.
Yeah,
But I never lost it completely. Now I was supposed to do radiation, but they said I responded well
enough
to the
if that was
surgery.
good enough.
Yeah, so they said you'll probably lose it during
I
radiation.
was gonna say, I think that's usually when most, because some people put those cold caps on that you can
Oh.
wear.
Oh,
Because
okay.
the idea is that the cold cap, it's supposed to really be uncomfortable because it's literally ice, like on
Right,
your head.
Yeah. Talk about your
But it's
Brain
apparently,
freeze.
yeah. But apparently, if like you're really determined to keep your hair, this is supposed to help.
Oh, but what about all those lovely scarves you get to wear, or
I know.
you know, the wigs maybe, or
I get it. I mean, if something like for some people, hair is a very
oh,
important. like-
absolutely. I was terrified of losing my hair. I think that's why I held on to it mentally. I just went, nope, you're
It's gonna
staying
stay.
with me.
Yeah, I lost some hair. I lost a lot of hair when I was pregnant with the kids, but I never had like.
Really, because often
You-
it's
you-
opposite. Like you get thick, luxurious hair. 'cause
No,
you-
but I mean after, like in postpartum.
Oh, after. Yes,
postpartum.
yes.
No, my hair looked great while I was pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
And then after,
Me too.
I was like, I never really looked at it. I could tell it was a little thin, but like I don't
Right.
think anyone would have really noticed except
Yeah.
for me.
I didn't
And you
notice.
could, because and I started getting, but then you start getting the random baby hairs, like all the flyaways that start
Mm.
to grow, and you're like, oh, I can see where all that hair has come. But you wouldn't have
Yes.
noticed because some people lose the baby hair and lose a lot and
Oh,
get
wow.
like like where they're almost getting like
Bald spots and
bald
stuff.
spots. I never had that issue. I
Right.
still had a shit ton of hair, as my hairstylist said every time. But
Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah. So
or
yeah.
just losing it from stress. I had a friend of mine who's
Yeah.
who's like been struggling with alopecia because they had like stress spot, so they like put their
Oh.
hair up to hide, like because they had like kind of the back, which is nice. At least it's somewhere they could kind
that
of.
runs in our family.
Don't fucking tell me that. What?
Alopecia runs in our family.
That's.
Yeah.
I wish you didn't say that.
Oh, just hang on to it. You'll be fine.
I
You'll be
sometimes
fine.
worry about that with Luce because her hair is so fine and so gentle, but I think she still has baby hair. Like her hair
Oh, wow.
is soft in some spots. I almost like, is this like?
Maybe she's got sort of my thing. Of,
She definitely has like thin, fine hair.
Yeah.
Which is and like, she doesn't have as much,
yeah, I
and
know
it's
she
curly.
doesn't. I can just visually see her
Yeah.
hair's a lot more manageable.
10 times, and I always feel bad because like Lucy takes a fraction, not even a fraction of a fraction amount of the time that it takes me to do Annabelle's hair, and Annabelle gets always pissed off. And I'm like, there's gonna be a time that Lucy's gonna be upset that she doesn't have your hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there are a lot of things I can do with Annabelle's hair that I wouldn't be able to do or wouldn't try and do with Lucy's hair.
Right, right. And it's funny because like they're mixed children. So I watch court shows, right?
Yeah.
That's my guilty pleasure. And I can't tell you, especially in the People's Court, which I love. I love Judge Judy too, but the People's Court.
People's Court's your winner.
Oh yeah. Well, especially when it comes to like black women suing their hairstylist because the amount of time and money
There's a lot that goes into it.
that goes into black hair, and even Judge Marilyn has said, I've studied this subject because she gets so many cases about it. She's like, I've watched
to
Chris
know.
Rock's documentary, and I haven't seen that yet. I want to though.
I didn't know there was a documentary.
Yeah. Chris Rock did a documentary on black hair.
Wow.
And the work and the process and the time and the effort that goes into it. Because white women have no idea, like the amount of work that goes
Unless
into.
they have curly hair, like.
But even curly hair doesn't, it's not the same. Like it's curly hair,
It's still
and then
not the same as having like black really
hair.
tight curls.
Yeah, exactly. And like the whole like the braiding and the washing and the conditioning and the what's the other thing they do also? There's the locks that they'll do sometimes.
Oh, locks,
Or wigs, like
wigs, weaves,
Weaves.
protective hairstyles,
like
all types of
they're
things.
crocheting in hair and
Yeah.
all this stuff and then the straighteners too.
Yeah, if you don't want, or relaxers if you want to get your hair
yes,
straight,
yes.
or at least for a while instead.
Because like really the straighteners are actually perms. Because it's a chemical process. It's just they don't curl it, they straighten
they
it.
straighten it.
I
yeah.
learned that from a hairstylist.
I knew that, but good on you. She
Yes.
learned it.
Look at me.
She can learn, folks.
And like if you've got like black hair, you have to find the right hairstylist. You can't just go to any hairstylist because a lot of them don't always know how to treat it properly.
You don't always know. It's hard to do all, like, especially if you're going to try and do braids, like holding your arms up like that, like doing your own hair.
Yeah. Oh,
it's very tiring.
no,
on your arms. You gotta take
it's a
breaks.
family project, really.
Because Namoose always does like
Yeah.
Yoli's hair. When
Yeah.
she does, not always. Yoli's gone to other people now that she doesn't like live in Kingston all the time.
But doesn't Namusa go to South Africa to get her hair
she's
done?
gone to, like, when she's gone to South Africa.
I mean, she doesn't go
usually
every
gets
time,
her-
but anytime she's going to South
yeah,
Africa,
she often gets her hair done, which I don't blame her. Like, why wouldn't you? Because there's a lot. First of all, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
And
they've got the knowledge
you're
because-
gonna get the knowledge of people. Like there's there's only like one official place to go in Kingston, I think.
Okay,
Maybe.
okay. Yeah.
But there's like other people who obviously do it on the side.
Yeah.
But there's only like one place I can think of, like, of actual like
Well, one
hairstylist
court
place.
show that I was watching, the lady was suing her hairstylist, and it's like, if you really like that hairstylist, like, I don't think you would sue her. But anyways, she sued her, and she had dropped like over $1,000,
It can
and
be a
it was
lot.
a lot.
'Cause especially in the type
And
of hair
she
you
was
get.
there until 2 a.m. because it was like an 8-hour process or something.
It's so crazy.
It's like they have to book off days.
Yeah, it's a process.
From work to get their hair done.
It's a lot. Like, even Namusa says, like, because she was like, I never really did my own hair. It wasn't until she moved to Canada that she had to kind of learn. She's like, even still, like, I'm not really great for doing my hair. Like, I
Right.
think she often usually just wears a wig and then just keeps her hair, like, up.
Right. I mean, that would probably be the lowest maintenance.
I think so.
Is
At
just
least
to
for
wear-
her, it has been.
Yeah.
But
Like, because doing your own locks or doing your own cornrows or braiding or whatever
yeah.
would be, like you say, you could, like, my arms get tired when I'm just doing a braid or something.
Oh my god, I know. Just curling my hair at the back.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll curl
and then you
the
start
front
to sweat.
and-
You're like, it's like,
I'm like, screw the back. I'm just doing the front where I can see. Who cares what's behind me?
if it's all flat in the back.
Exactly.
I only see this part, so the rest of you are only
I'll
going to
be
see this.
facing this part. Hello.
You just go against the walls everywhere you go.
Exactly. why are you step sliding out of the room?
No, I can see the back.
Yeah, because the back isn't done.
Back isn't done.
But yeah, I can't imagine doing it in even like smaller increments and things like
It's
that.
a lot. Well, when I've done Annabelle's hair, when I've braided her hair, and I don't even add extra hair, just simply braiding. It can take me like a couple of hours, depending on like, because she also likes thinner braids oftentimes.
Oh, yeah,
So-
of course she does.
So I'm like, okay, great. There you go. Do that. And like, I would never say I'm a very good hair person. I've learned over the years because
You've learned a lot. Yeah,
you
'cause
have to.
usually they look really great unless I'm there on a Saturday morning and
Yeah,
they just
that's-
rolled out of
I was
bed.
gonna say, there's
They got
some-
candy wrappers in the
There are
somewhere in
times-
their hair.
I usually try and always make it look good, but it's always when I'm out. There's always that one random time you go out, and then there's all these black people, and you haven't done your kid's hair, and you're like,
And
oh
you're
my,
being judged.
and I'm like, oh my god, like I promise you, normally their hair looks great. It's just like hair days tomorrow, and
Yeah.
I was tired this morning.
So maybe they understand. Okay, hair day's tomorrow. I get it.
I always feel like I try and sneak that. I'm like, we gotta do the hair day tomorrow. Their hair's really
You say it really loud so everybody
Yeah,
hears.
it's like I promise you, I don't neglect my children's hair. I do know what to do. I have the products. I promise you. Just, I was tired, okay, and they didn't want to fight me on the
They're
brush.
probably looking at you going, "Oh, white girl doesn't know how to do the black hair."
That's exactly what you feel like.
It's like,
Oh.
no, I've studied, I've watched the videos, I've learned.
I've researched. I get the products. I promise. Well, that's like different too because their texture is different than actual black hair too, right? Because they're mixed.
Yes,
Because
yeah.
sometimes Namusa will do stuff with their hair, and I had to like take it out because I'm like,
It's
whatever.
too much or
It's-
whatever.
Well, she'll like what she does is like almost too drying for their hair, and then it's like she
okay.
like it's like not. It's just like she has openly admitted herself as not a perfect hair person. She had to learn. Because I
Right.
at first was talking about like, oh, having to learn. She's like, oh, I had to learn too. Like she still needs to learn when it comes to doing the kids' hair. 'Cause she'll do it, and I'm like, this is like,
This is not working.
this is like
I have
it's.
to undo all the work and
There
then
were-
redo.
Well, there was one time, yeah, because she tried to do twists.
Oh, okay.
And like she was kind of the problem is she always says it kind of like in a rush. She doesn't like
Oh.
sit and do
I
it.
don't think she's that patient a person.
Not for the
I'm like that. I'm
not
impatient.
Yeah, not for that. It's always like spur of the moment that and it's always Annabelle's hair. She typically does because Annabelle has gorgeous hair, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she does do Lucy's hair, but Lucy's hair's a lot easier to do. But she did try and twist it once, and they weren't done very well, and they weren't like set properly. She didn't even have the right elastics, and I'm just like,
Oh.
I was just like, not that you have to
So it's a
learn-
makeshift.
Well, I was
you
like
know.
trying to correct them a little bit before bed. We'll see. I was like, well, we'll see if they hold up in the morning. They did not because I was like, I don't know if they're gonna hold up in the
she
in the
came
morning.
in with half them on.
Oh, basically, I had to
twisted.
untake it all out and then quickly brush her hair because she like didn't even properly section off the hair and brush it out.
So were the elastics? Are they hard to put in Annabelle's hair? Like, because they're rubber elastics, right?
Yeah, well,
because I
sometimes
know when
I've-
you put a rubber elastic in my hair, it's like getting gum out of my hair.
Yeah.
I usually have to cut it off
I
or
did
whatever.
use for a while because I was getting annoyed with the plastic ones. I did use like small fabric ones that I could found.
Oh
or, like,
yeah, because there's
elasticy.
those little plastic ones you can buy. Right?
Yeah, so I did those for a little.
which are different from rubber.
Yeah, so I did those for a little while, and they were better. I found them better, but they stretched out over time. So then you could only use
Oh,
them for so
yes,
long
yes.
because there's no way to really
Because now they're like this big.
yeah,
and
there's
you're
no way to
like,
rebounce them.
Yeah, yeah.
The elastic ones are not. They can be annoying, but like if you soak them in oil, they're supposed to be better. And oftentimes I'll just cut them out because you're not reusing them.
Right. Okay.
So I'll just like.
So
cut
there's
it.
no frugalness happening.
No, which is why it's not the most environmentally friendly, which is why I often would do the other ones because for a while I could at least use them for a few more times
Oh, okay.
before they were too stretched out. I'm like, okay, this is like lost all
Yeah.
elasticity
Yeah,
before
yeah.
it has to now go.
It's now dead.
But oftentimes I don't even use elastics depending on what I'm doing. Like sometimes I'll section off the hair, I'll braid it, and then I just twist it on the end.
So you've gotten really good at it.
I don't know if I'd say really good, but I figured out a system that works.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Oh dear. Well, like I said, it's the day before Halloween.
Day for Halloween. Yeah, we that's where we started the conversation.
Yeah.
And we went all over
You know?
God's green earth.
Yeah, and that's what this,
That's why it's
podcast
called
is about.
Everything, Anything, and Nothing,
Nothing
at all.
And feel free to contribute to. Sorry.
Oh.
Oh my God. We're back. So sorry. That's just one of my little guilty pleasures too.
I don't think they'll see your screen.
Oh,
They'll just
okay,
They'll
okay.
just probably maybe go black or.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. We're back.
We're back.
But we've gone over an hour, so
Yeah,
we're near the end.
Near the
here.
end, but yeah, you said it's Halloween tomorrow.
It's Halloween tomorrow.
Kids are excited to go trick or treating.
Yeah.
I'm excited for them to go trick or treating.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll get candy I like.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I got to go through the candy first,
the
make sure it's
candy.
all safe. And
Oh.
yeah, this coffee crisp is not safe, so I'll be putting
Yeah,
that
well,
over
can't
here.
have that. We've over the years have given them like a bin, so we'll have like a bin for all the candy and bin for all the chips, and then it just kind of comes like community candy, and so then you
that's
can
a
like
good
pick
idea.
as many like
So a bin for the chocolate bars, bin for candy, and a bin for chips.
Yeah.
And everything else is just thrown out. Who gives out apples anymore, by the way? Probably nobody.
No one gives out apples.
That used to
It's
be
hard
a
to do.
thing.
It's hard to do like things like that because more and more people are
Yeah.
hesitant.
When we would like, cause
like when-
we would come home as kids with 7 or 8 apples in our bag because
Well,
it used
because
to be
fruit
a thing.
was fruit was a luxury item. More.
Well, no, we weren't that poor. We're
I'm
not
sure you were. Sure
We
you
weren't born in like the Dust Bowl. Or
I mean,
whatever.
honestly, apples these days probably would be a good thing because
Yeah.
fruit is a luxury.
But what my mom would do, because of course there
Make
was
an apple pie.
she would make them all into
That's so
apple
smart.
pies. Yeah, because because that way she could check and see if there was anything nefarious put into the apple. right?
Blades, poison,
Yeah, exactly.
drugs.
So that and one guy would give us chips and pop. So you get
Oh.
a can of pop.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was pretty good.
Yeah, you don't see as many of those things these days. Like, the kids have gotten some pretty good hauls, but nothing like it's nothing crazy. Like there's nothing
Yeah.
like, oh my god, you got a full chocolate bar, or you don't see that as often, or like pop, you don't see that very often. But I mean, we get them that stuff. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's more just the fun
Pop
of going.
is definitely more accessible to kids these days. So
Yeah, so
you
it's-
either have parents that are pro pop or I don't care pop.
Yeah.
It's not pro pop. I mean anti pop.
Drink up.
Yeah, I'm pro pop. I
never give them water.
And water.
Water's
None
awful
of the pop
for them.
for you.
Pop really gets them going in the
But
morning.
yeah, like candy kisses.
Candy kisses. Oh yeah.
Who gives that out anymore?
I don't know. I
And
hate
yet-
when people give out Tootsies. Who the
Oh
who
yeah.
the F eats a-
Tootsies are the modern day candy kisses, basically.
who eats a Tootsie?
Yeah, I'll have like maybe one of them, and then I'll be reminded about why I
you
don't like
absolutely
those.
hate them?
Yeah.
But people get them. I remember one time the girls went to a birthday party and they had like a little piñata. Fine. Most of it was filled with Tootsie Rolls. I'm like,
Really? Because
I was like-
normally they're in a mix of a candy
they were
bag.
a mixed thing. Yeah, they did have like Lifesavers and not Lifesavers. They had like Jolly Ranchers. But then they had I think maybe had some lollipops. But then they had a bunch of Tootsie Rolls. I'm like, who in their right mind fills a piñata for children with Tootsie Rolls? Do you hate children? Because that's what that says.
Do you hate children's teeth?
Do you hate children's
Because
teeth?
those things, like
Oh.
candy kisses, were definitely worse for pulling your teeth
yeah.
out.
The kids actually, ironically, I found some of their Halloween candy from last year that we never finished when I was doing some cleaning.
Yeah.
And so they're eating it now. Great. Might as well finish it up before they get more.
Gotta eat all that before the
Gotta
next,
We
trick or treat.
someone did give out one of those old
Kisses?
kisses.
Oh my god.
And
oh
I'm
my
like,
god. Yeah.
Is it supposed to be caramel? Is it a caramel thing?
It's supposed to be a caramel thing, I think.
It
Yeah.
looks-
Toffee, caramel,
It looks
something
disgusting.
in
I
between.
don't know why anyone.
And like at first, when you first get in your mouth, you're like, okay, yep. And then as it melts more and more into your teeth and every crevice you have, you're regretting it more and more.
I'm gonna be
And it
tasting this for
never-
the next 10
It
years.
never really fully melts.
Ew.
Like it's never fully, like you end up spitting it out and just throwing it in the garbage because it's like, okay, I've been chewing on this thing for half an hour and it's still not gone.
Oh my god.
It's bad. Now I have a friend of mine who loves the Rockets.
I like rockets.
Which
I like the
I don't think
Rockets.
Americans know them as rockets, but they're these little candy pills.
There's
Almost.
something, yeah. There's
like
I
sweet
think
tarts,
they are,
but a smaller
yeah.
version.
I
But-
can't remember what they're called in the States, but yeah,
Yeah, so rockets up here in
I
Canada.
like those.
Yeah.
I definitely remember making them pills. Like, oh, you got the kids do that too. I love it. It's funny how that just
Gotta
happens.
take my medicine.
I know they totally do that. I'm like, I did that as a kid. It's weird though, those things that continue. That
Yeah.
like, how did that like?
Without
I-
prompting from
yeah,
you.
you never taught to them. You never said anything. It's just something that happens.
Yeah. And then you're, sadly awoken to the fact that pills don't usually taste like rockets.
No. Well, most of the time you don't taste the pill.
Yeah,
Well, most of the time, it depends on the pill and how big it is.
You do taste it on your first, like the first time you ever take like
yeah.
aspirin or something.
If you ever have to, or if you accidentally leave it in for too long, you're trying
Yeah.
to get a drink fast. You're like, why did I put this in my mouth before I was prepared
yeah,
with the
you
drink?
gotta prep the drink first
Because I've done
pill.
that a few times. Because some like Advil,
And you're
sometimes-
quickly just grabbing anything and drinking it right out of the jug.
I've done that before because the Advil sometimes has a sweet coating. So that's
Oh,
I've actually
yes.
I've gone to the point where like the sweet coating is now dissolved, and now I'm getting to the actual candy part, like the best part, like
These aren't rockets. These aren't rockets.
I've been like, oh, this actually tastes good. I'm like, not anymore, not anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It does not last very long. It's very
No,
dissolving,
it
very quick.
dissolves really quick. Like, what are you trying to trick your stomach?
I know. I think it's for those people that are like bad for swallowing. Because I knew someone who was like,
Yeah.
even as an adult, couldn't like swallow. They still don't take liquid stuff.
Okay.
Because
well,
they
I mean,
couldn't
like
have-
you
they
drink
couldn't-
a little bit of water, and sometimes if I'm thirsty, I just keep going. But
I can like dry down pills. Really.
I
I can
can
dry
dry
down
down-
big pills. I'm like, "Wha-"
I can do most pills too dry if I have to, unless it's a huge horse pill, and then I'm like, yeah, no, that's not good.
or
Dana.
some of them are just naturally dry. Like they go in your mouth, and your mouth is like, you're like, what happened?
Okay, this was made of sawdust,
Yeah.
and the glue just dissolved like, right in my
Exactly.
mouth. Yeah, it's like as soon as it hits body temperature, it's like gone. Okay, we're just gonna slide down your throat like
The
now.
worst is when you take a pill and you're like, you were like,
Oh,
I
you
shouldn't
can
be
feel
fine.
it right here.
They're like, I'm like,
And you're
I'm
like-
choking.
It's like you keep swallowing.
And you're like tapping. You're like,
Yeah, get down. Bread is the best thing to eat after. Like,
Oh,
just take a
really?
little bit of bread because the bread will grab it. You're coming down with me.
with me, sucker.
Exactly.
Especially if you drink with it, because the water, because of course it would get like sticky, right?
Yeah, and
Oh.
drinking after when it's stuck here does not always
No,
push it
you're
down.
like,
Yeah, you're like, oh, it didn't catch it. More. No.
try to cough it up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, it's just staying right there. You'll be like, I swear to God, it's stuck between bones. You know,
It's always right. It's always in that one spot. You're like, ah,
it's gotten caught.
I'm choking. Yeah, you're still breathing, talking fine. You're not choking.
Pretty sure I'll have to go to the hospital for this. I'll have to pick it out of between the bones.
And then you're like, can you see it?
Yeah, exactly. Is it sticking out on my throat? I'm pretty sure you can see it.
I'm dying. Dramatic pill taking.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you just prepared yourself with a drink,
Yeah,
when you
but the first time you ever take an adult medication that's pill form, you're usually choking the whole time.
Yeah.
You're like, it's like a 3-time, okay, I'm going to try again. Nope. And it's like popping out of your
yeah,
mouth.
it's so true. You're like, I can't do this.
Because your body's like, no.
Give me my syringe with my bubblegum medicine.
Exactly. Where's the little spoon that, the measuring
the
spoon?
the banana medicine's so good. There used to be like in high school across the corner store bar
Yeah.
there had like these frozen banana popsicles.
Oh.
Tasted exactly like that. I would get them all the time. It's like this shit's so good.
That would have been good too for colds, right? Popsicles
Oh,
are good
yeah.
for the sore throat and stuff. And
So I
so
don't
it
think
would
I
have
can find them now, but
bring back all the memories. Oh, I'm feeling so much better.
yeah, the placebo effect, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's-
Your body's like, this must be antibiotics. It tastes just like antibiotics.
You don't get that flavor though anymore because the kids had like that medicine, and I don't think they give you the fancy spoon though, which was kind of annoying.
Oh.
Because the kids, what was it? Not was it last year maybe or the year before? They both ended up getting like strep throat because it was going through the
Oh,
school.
right.
So we had to take them to the Emerge and get them medicine.
Yeah.
And they had like the little bottles, but I think it was like strawberry or something.
Oh, okay.
But no fancy spoon, I don't think. I don't remember
Well,
the fancy spoon.
and like some medicines, even adult ones, like cough medicine, will come with the little shot glass.
Yeah, that's what I think we used for them. When
And
they
I
had.
always feel like I gotta pour a little extra because when you shoot there's still a little coating and a little bit
know.
at the bottom. I'm like, did I take enough? I don't know. Maybe I should add a little extra.
100%. I do that with the kids because I'm always like, hold it, because they're always like, oh, this tastes gross. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't care, shoot it back. I've been trying to teach them to be like, shoot it once,
Yeah.
shoot it once.
Come on, get your purse skills up. Yeah.
Because they're like, it tastes gross. I just always like, if you just drink it all at once, you know what happened? You won't have to taste it longer.
This will serve you well in college and university.
Exactly. I know. I always tell like they're gonna be awful partiers because they can't shoot shit back at all.
I still remember the time we were at Kelsey's with my sisters, and we had cherries on top of the drinks that we gotten in the dessert. You got a dessert because you were only like, I don't know, 10 years old, 11 years old, something like that. And of course, we were all joking with cherries. Oh, let's see if we can tie it in a knot.
Yeah.
And this one here, she just puts it in her mouth, pops it out. There's a perfect knot. And all of us were like, whoa.
I like. I think I remember thinking being competitive. So
Yeah.
Like, well, you were all trying to do this. Okay. Well, I can do that shit. No problem. There you go.
I can't remember. I think one of my sisters could sort of do it.
I can still do that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a skill you have honed. So.
I started thinking like, why are we doing this? I don't know, but I'm competitive and I want to win.
The first one out and the tightest knot too. I was just like, oh my God. Like.
I do remember that. I just remember wanting to beat everyone. That's all I was like. I'm just gonna beat all you all.
She's like, I'm the winner.
Score.
Exactly.
Not realizing
Double
any-
guns.
Oh my god, the guns.
The guns.
Guns will haunt me forever.
Yeah. But yeah, the shot glass thing, like, I always feel like I got to add a little extra, and
It does get like coated in there.
And God forbid you don't rinse it out right away.
Oh, that is.
If you're sick and you're in bed, you just kind of put it on your nightstand, and then it's like, you can never use this again.
I know. I often sometimes wonder to myself, should I just drink it straight from it? Because I feel like
I've
that
done
would be.
that.
I always contemplate doing it, but then I share with Ayanda, and I'm like, well, what if I make it more contaminated with the illness?
Yes.
So I always think to myself, like, I should just not.
Yeah.
We often just use spoons, but. So me and Ayanda actually had been sick a little bit ago.
Yeah.
We're still kind of getting over it. It's one of those ones that like lingers for a while.
Oh, okay.
But when we were in the height of it, we had Buckley's. Buckley's, we do tend to like liquid medicine because I find it feels better on our throat.
Yeah, because it does give your throat a little coating.
It helps with the
for a little
throat,
bit.
and the scent of it is really good for your sinus. So you have a lot of sinus stuff, especially Buckley's is very strong. So we tend to like liquid stuff,
Right.
When we take cold medicine. That's
I'm Buckley's or NyQuil is the other one.
Oh,
I'll
see,
do.
I don't mind NyQuil, but I don't find it does as much for me, so I prefer Buckley's. I'm all about, or Neocitrin. I like the Neocitrin, like the lemon drink. Oh, yeah, all for that.
Right.
That one knocks me right out too. I'm
okay.
gone when that one comes.
Well, NyQuil does that for me. It knocks me out.
You can get, I don't find it as does as much, but maybe I've just had too much as a child. I don't know. But anyways, so on the thing, it tells you can take like, I think one or
You're
two.
sick again, Catherine. Go to bed.
This is what my childhood was like. No.
Yeah, exactly. Roofing my own kids.
People do that. I mean,
I know. I saw a survey.
it's horrible.
Quite a few years ago where they asked parents, do you use cough medicine to help your children sleep?
It's a surprising. No, I would never do that myself. Yes. I mean, there's been times I've been tempted, but I would never do it.
Yeah, I never did it, but I was not sad when you were sick and fell asleep because
super
of it.
easily. Yes, exactly. But anyway, so the Buckley's, it's like, I think it's like 1 or 2 teaspoons you're supposed to take.
Okay.
4 or 6 hours. Ida was like, he was like, took it in front of me, and he has a big like spoon, like just a regular spoon, and he's pouring it. He takes 2 of them, and I'm like, that's like a tablespoon.
Yeah.
A tablespoon is 3 teaspoons. Do you know that? You've just taken 6 teaspoons of this message. You just take 1, and he's like, oh really? I'm like, please don't kill yourself. I need you. Yes. He's like, well, that's how much I need to make myself feel better. I'm like, or is it? Are you just taking too much?
Yeah, exactly. And I usually use a big spoon, especially when it's Buckley's, because like the commercials say it tastes awful, but it works.
Yeah, it tastes awful,
right?
but it works.
So I'm like, but I use the big spoon so that I get the 2 teaspoons.
I usually use one. I do one
because
big.
I can't like 1 spoon, and if I have to do a second one, I'm like, no.
I only do 2 if I'm really, really sick. But I also have to think. I find like, they do kids medicine based off weight, right?
Yeah.
And I think all medicine's based off weight. So I always concerned with the fact that they say certain amounts for my body, like for body types. I'm like, okay, there's probably something average.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm fat.
Average size. So
So I need to take more than what is like considered average because my weight is more than what they probably measure on there. Now, Ayanda is not fat, so the man should not be taking that much.
No, especially since it's triple the dose he's taking.
Oh my God, I know.
Something like that.
I mean, he's got cushion, but not that much cushion.
Because I had something that I had to take, and it wasn't really affecting me a lot. And I said, could it be because I'm a bigger girl?
Yeah.
And I say, because a lot of medicine is based on weight. And he's like, oh, that's a good point. I'm
That's
like,
concerning that your doctor was like, that's a great point. Like, in all the years that you've done this, you never thought to yourself, you know, I need to know your weight for this. Like, they do it for all types of, like, like when you're going under for, like, surgeries,
they
you need to know your weight because they need to know how much to give you.
because you don't want to wake up in the middle of your surgery.
Yeah. Or you not wake up at all.
Yeah, or not wake up at all.
If they use too much.
Or if you're doing the C-section like you did, where you're partially, like, you're awake, but they put part of your body out.
Yeah, they do a spinal tap and numb you down from, like,
but
here
you
up
don't
or
want to
whatever.
be suddenly telling the doctor, I can feel that.
Ow! They do poke you.
Like,
They're like,
yeah.
stab you. They're like,
Oh,
boop, boop, boop.
oh,
Do you
and-
feel this? Is
and
this sharp?
They always say there's going to be a little pressure. It's a lie.
It's a lot of pressure.
It's
That
a
was,
lot.
I would say that's the one thing when I had a C-section. I knew a C-section was a pretty big reality for me.
Right.
Because of our family history. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, a lot of people have had C-sections. You know, I might be looking at that.
Yeah.
You know, I had all the hopes for, you know, vaginal birth, but it
Yeah.
didn't happen. That's all
Didn't
right.
happen. That's okay.
But
A birth is still a birth.
yeah, but like I remember like looking into C-sections, like, oh, I should be aware of what it is about and experience. Not a single person, all the things I saw, ever talked about the feeling of it. Like, you know, they talk, oh, you're frozen, you don't feel anything. You don't feel the physical pain of it, but
Yeah.
you feel the pressure. Like because they have to do, instead of you pushing, they push. So they're doing the physical. So they cut you open, and you do
okay.
feel the motion of them, like essentially cutting you open, taking out your body parts
Yeah.
to get to your.
Because there's
to-
a lot of stuff on top of the
yeah,
uterus
well, you've got
that
your
they kinda have
fat,
to
you've got your
move.
you got your bladder, your some intestines. Like, there's a lot of things they have to cut through.
Yeah, and do they put the intestines back the way they came in?
I don't know. Well, they do. That's one of the reasons why you can't leave the hospital until you pass gas and poop,
Oh.
so that you know things are.
Well,
you
see,
know-
back in my day, one, I went right out. I said, wake me up when the kid is here.
I like that I was awake actually.
And two, your father made the mistake of, there used to be that surgery show on TLC or whatever.
Oh,
And he
I-
watched a C-section before you were born.
Oh.
He was terrified. He's
Oh my
like, oh my
God.
God. And three, what was the other thing? Oh, they used to keep you in the hospital a lot longer.
Yeah, they kick you out so fast these days.
5
faster
days.
than I would have liked, to be honest.
And my mother stayed in, I think, just as long, maybe a little longer with me. And she got a massage from the nurse every single night.
Jesus Christ, I feel like I was a burden to the nurses sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like,
I'm sorry to bother you, but would you mind?
Sorry, I'm bleeding from my vagina and have a huge cut on my abdomen, but can I just bother you for this some little thing?
Yeah. Meanwhile, they'll wake up in the middle of the night to do your
Oh,
blood pressure and your
Fuck
temperature.
me. Fuck me. It was
You're
so
waking
anno-
up and someone's putting a stick in your mouth.
Oh
It's
my
like,
God.
wow, what are you doing?
I know, right? Jesus, we can barely get up.
Yeah.
Fucking so
It's
much.
like we have to check you every 2 hours. Really? Do you have to?
I have to punch you every time you come in the room. How about that?
nothing against nurses. You guys do a good job.
I did
but-
actually have a lot of good nurses. There were some not so great nurses, but
Yeah.
overall, a lot of the nurses I had were really awesome. And I did have nurses that would didn't bother me in the night. They'd be like, let me, they came in
Yeah.
and saw us sleeping. They would just
Yeah,
leave
they don't
us.
bother you as much once you have the baby. It's before, because I was in the hospital before I had.
Yeah, they bother you a
and
lot when you're in there.
They
before.
do. They do. It's like, oh my God, you want me to sleep and rest, but then you're waking me
Oh
up.
my God, you're waking me every 2 seconds.
Yeah,
I think there was
exactly.
one time they let us sleep in because when I was in with Lucy,
Yeah.
they let me, me and Ayanda eventually came into the bed at one point and we were sleeping snugly together. And they did leave us for one of the checkups. And then
Oh.
eventually did wake me up again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired.
I fell asleep with you in my arms, just to make sure it doesn't. I don't want to get the game again.
Don't hit it.
So I fell asleep with you in my arms in the hospital.
Yeah.
In my bed, obviously in my bed. And one nurse came in and just started ripping strips off me.
Oh my God.
She's like, how dare you do that? It's a danger to the baby and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm bonding. Shut up.
I had a nurse. I don't think it was.
And then I was terrified for Marcel to do that with him.
Oh, see, with Lucy, I didn't really co-sleep too much, but she also didn't sleep a lot, which meant I didn't sleep a lot. In the hospital.
You were a dream. You weren't in the hospital because I was trying to breastfeed and it wasn't going well. But once you were home, once I figured out I could do part breast and part bottle,
combination.
yeah,
Combo.
you were a dream baby.
Excuse me.
So the first night was rough at home because I hadn't figured that out, and I sent your father out to get formula and bottles and
Yeah,
stuff.
we gotta get the shit.
Exactly. But then after that, you slept from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m.
I
You know,
should have never done that.
12 hours all the time. It was awesome. And then you had a nap, and you practically weren't born because I had that snuggly that you hold the baby in.
Yeah.
And I just
baby
kept you
wrap
in there.
them.
Yeah, I just kept you in there. And Marcel, her younger brother, would have none of that. He did not like the snuggly at all.
That was more like Annabelle. She wasn't as much. She still was Velcro-y, but not as much. I could put her down.
You could have lived in my womb for another
That's loose. That was loose for
12
sure.
months for sure. And the funny thing is, like, he never slept. Like, he was up every 2 hours.
Still doesn't. Well, actually, he sleeps now more. I think.
Yeah, he sleeps oddly now.
Yeah.
But every 2 hours he was up wanting some breast or bottle
That
because I
sounds like
did
loose.
I did the combo with him too. And I have to admit, at 3 months, even though you're not supposed to, I was putting Pavlov in his bottle, and I only got an extra hour.
Oh my god.
So it was 3 hours he was waking up after that.
That was loose. She was always a 2 to 3 hour. I remember coming home from the hospital crying because I was so tired.
Yes.
I was so tired, and she wouldn't feed, and I was just sitting there crying. And I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I'm so tired. I'm so tired.
Oh, yeah.
I was in pain too because I'm just like, I've
Yeah.
just had a major surgery, and here I am with a fucking baby, and they won't
Yes.
eat. And it was a dream though. He
Oh,
best
that's
partner to have
awesome.
for that kind of situation.
That's
but-
awesome. Yeah, because like I still remember after Marcel was born. So you guys are Irish twins. They were born 13 months minus a day apart. And I remember my grandma coming over. Now my grandma had 11 children.
I can imagine.
So she knows what it's like to have a busy household. She knows what it's like to have children close apart too.
Yeah,
Because my
close
dad,
together.
or close together, I mean, my dad was a twin.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was a lot of children.
A lot of children. A lot of
Happening.
energy.
A lot of energy. Exactly. And she came over and she immediately took charge and she said, Rhonda, you go to bed. She insisted. And I was like, what is bed? I don't remember. And she took care of you and Marcel. She brought a casserole.
Oh,
She
bless.
cleaned all my dishes. She cleaned the bathroom and the kitchen. She did a little vacuuming once I was awake again because she
Yeah.
didn't want to disturb me. And she just, you know, she was the baby whisperer. She just kind of took you and
Just-
changed you and everything.
yeah.
I came out and she was feeding one of you a bottle or whatever, and she was watching All My Children, which was my soap opera too. So we bonded over
Over-
that
Aw.
because we got talking. I'm like, oh yeah, so and so's doing this, and oh my god, this is
Can
happening.
you
Yeah, exactly.
That's
it
so
was.
funny.
It was just. I was just like, my grandma likes the same soap.
Why the
I
hell
like.
did you do that with me?
I
You
know,
snatch.
I know. Well, she was retired at that point. She didn't have busy life and stuff like that, you know, because like I can't do as much because I'm working a lot more.
Working.
Working. Because she was a young mom, but she was a mom over the span of about 20 years.
It's a long time. I can imagine. I mean, you're mom for life, but couldn't imagine having that many kids. You couldn't
Yeah,
pay me.
over 20
to
years
have-
she had kids, not even just raising
You
them.
couldn't pay me enough money to have that many kids.
Yeah. I mean, I love the idea of a big family. I don't know if I could have done it because I'm one of 7, but we used to always joke and say, "What's one more potato in the pot?" Right?
yeah.
And
I'm sure you get to a certain point that you're like, you might as well just keep adding them on.
Yeah.
What does it matter?
yeah, exactly.
We've already hit the thresh point. Of,
Yeah, I think
no
once
return.
once you get over 3, I think it's like 3 kids. It's like, yeah, whatever.
Pop them out.
Yeah, I don't know. I only had 2, so
I only had 2. I'm happy with 2.
yeah, I was happy with 2. I could have done a third.
If I got pregnant now, maybe. Earlier when the kids were a lot younger, I'd say no.
Yeah.
And I would have.
No.
If I got randomly pregnant now, if I got pregnant in the next like year, maybe.
Yeah.
If after that, maybe I might not, because I'm like, I don't want to like.
Yeah.
I already know when Annabelle. I think it's when Annabelle turns 18. I'm 44.
Okay.
And that's like I'm good with that age. Like
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to
yeah.
be.
Yeah. Not too old, not too young.
I mean, that being said, I'm young for my age.
Yes.
I'm young. I was a young mom for
when
my age
I had
group.
you, because like when you guys were going to school, a lot of the parents were quite a bit older than me.
Yeah, 10 years old.
Yeah,
Almost every parent
10
and the
years.
kids
Yeah.
that the friends are 10 years older
And there's
than me.
benefits to that too, because like
Pros and cons for sure.
absolutely both ways, but you know, it is what it is.
I mean, I can't put them back.
No, exactly. Kids, what kids?
Back in a
I've never
few
seen
years.
children.
Yeah, exactly. Because like it's only now within the last few years that our like people that are our age
Are starting to have kids.
So like 30, 31, 32 people are starting to have kids now. So we kind of feel like weird because we're like in this weird place. We're like, oh, we have 2 kids. They're
Yeah.
in school. They've been in school for a while. Like,
Yeah, exactly. But it also means you're going to be young when they're sort of out in the world as
Yeah.
adults. So you'll still be, you know, you'll have been established in your careers or whatever. Hopefully you're making decent money, that you'll have the time and the brain space to go traveling or something if you want to, without the, you know, we got to drag the kids along with us or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I
know?
think there's pros and cons because like I feel like it's hard to get established because we weren't really established when we had kids.
Yeah.
So there's like
so you do the establishing afterwards.
you do it. Yeah, it's kind of like in the during, which makes it take longer because
Yeah.
you're doing it during.
Yeah.
And then like maybe probably after. Whereas like some people who are like, oh, they're already established, and you can't compare yourself because I was like,
Yeah.
some of these parents are like, well, you're like 10 plus years older than me, so
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have kids until this point, and you were probably well established.
Yeah.
So it's easier to like, oh, well, I've already had kids when you're established, and some people could be like, oh, well, why do you wait to have kids until you're established? I'm like, well, most people don't wait. Like that's a normal thing,
And it's,
and you
you
don't
know,
always
whatever,
plan for how things happen.
Yeah, you know, things happen the way they happen, and you know, Lucy and Annabelle are beautiful. I wouldn't trade them in for
They're
anything.
gorgeous. I mean,
And
I
you
mean
and
beautiful
Marcel
children.
were amazing children, and again, I wouldn't trade you guys in for anything. So
I mean, you did win out with me. I don't know about Marcel. That's a bit questionable.
I won the lottery right there.
Sorry. I am the perfect child. Nothing wrong with me.
Exactly. But I guess we've talked for long enough.
I think so. People probably won't listen. This is an hour and a half now.
yeah,
People probably
so
don't wanna hear
hopefully
us
we
rambling.
entertained you through this hour and a half.
Yeah, we didn't do any stories, just rambling. Like
Just
we
rambling. Yeah, sometimes it's just going to be rambling. If you have any
said.
comments
Topics
or
yeah.
that you want to make, like we said, you know, do you crunch your crackers into the soup or do you put them whole premium plus? Do you
Crunch.
have another thing you do?
Yeah. Some people like goldfish crackers.
Oh, okay. Never tried those.
Yeah.
Go fishing for the
Go fishing.
crackers.
For the Kraken?
The
I do
Kraken.
like Krakens.
But thank you for joining us, even if it's just for part of it or if you've just put us on in the background. And if you want to show us some support, please like this video, subscribe to it.
Yeah. All the things.
Ring the bell.
Ring,
and go
ring,
over to Facebook under my profile. Go away, you.
Let's see if I can swipe it up.
There we go. Under my profile, Rhonda Devlin Gilbert. Whenever I post something, you can send me stars, which is a monetization of Facebook. So it's a way of keeping us going and buying us coffee for
Yes.
our
Well, we
little-
need coffee to
Yeah.
function. I don't I have 2 children.
Yeah.
I don't function without coffee.
And I had her, so I need coffee.
I think you should say I had Marcel, so I now need coffee.
Yes.
No. Harping on my brother. He's fine.
There you go.
He's a good uncle.
And I hope you have a very spooky, happy Halloween.
Yes. With lots of candy.
Yeah, lots of candy. But if you're an adult, don't steal the candy bowl.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Steal it from your own children.
Yeah.
Or buy your own box of
I was
candy.
gonna say you're an adult. You can buy candy any time of the year.
Yeah, and eat it.
Don't be
any
a
time of the year.
cheapo.
Yeah.
Don't be a don't. That's just
That's
bad
the
karma.
privilege of an adult.
Exactly.
You can have candy
Whatever
any
you want.
time
when my
of the
kids
day.
go to school,
No one
sometimes-
says anything.
Yeah. Sometimes when my kids go to school, sometimes I have the cake that I told them they couldn't have for
Yeah,
breakfast.
there you go.
Like literally, I'm like, no, you can't have that for breakfast. It's not breakfast food. They go to school.
Nom, 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 nom. There we go.
Not for me. I'm an adult. I've already grown everything I need to.
Exactly. The damage has been done.
Exactly. There's no return.
Exactly. All right.
All
Take
right,
care, everyone.
bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
Oh.